Hello and welcome. I'm Luna
And I'm Nick.
and we are the Nomad Citello. And every month we bring you the latest news from Venice to help you plan your trip there next month. And this month is a special one. You know that the entry fee, the access fee is starting. So we'll see everything about that. So let's have a look at what's on the menu. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the chat. We will answer at the best of our abilities. And if you're watching later, no worries, leave your comments and we will reply to them as soon as possible. So, April, what do we have in store this month? So, we're going to talk about the access fee. We're going to talk about Easter and how it's celebrated in the city. We're going to talk about some other events, and then there will be time for your questions and answers. So, access fee 2026. So if you don't know what we're talking about, this is an initiative that has been implemented in Venice since 2024. I think this is the third year that we're seeing this. And basically, it's a way to discourage daily visitors to have planned visits to the city to fight against over tourism.
Maybe not discourage, but decrease the amount of people flooding
Yeah,
in. Yeah.
exactly. So the way it works, it will start on the 3rd of April. If you see in the calendar, look at the days in red. This is when the access fee will be required. From 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you are visiting the city outside of this time, you don't have to worry about the access fee. It's meant only, as we said, for day visitors, people who are not staying in the city, but in all the metropolitan areas, so including Venice, Mestre, Marghera, Favaro, everywhere where you pay €1.50 for the bus, basically. Uh, if you have to pay, if you're visiting just for the day, if you're staying farther away and you're coming into Venice for the day on one of those red days, you have to pay €5 if you buy the access fee up to 4 days before your visit, €10 after that, even if you do it in person, because that's one possibility. There are checkpoints around the city, at the train station, at Piazzale Roma, the bus station, but also scattered around the city where agents will ask you to show proof of your access fee being paid or your exemption. We will get into the exemption in a second. So you need to pay or request an exemption through their website, which, surprise, surprise, is now active. It was not active until 5 days ago, literally. So this is brand new. We're going to look at it together, and
So,
all the links are in the description of this video.
so let's be clear. If you're entering or walking around Venice on one of those days during one of those times, you need to have on you either an exemption that you've registered for in
Yeah,
advance, which we're about to see, an ID that shows that you live in Venice or Favaro or Mestre, or €10 ready to pay.
yeah,
And if you pay it, then you get a ticket that you keep carrying with you the rest of the day.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the website uh, for the access fee. So you see there are two sections, exemptions or payment of the fee. Payment of the fee is pretty straightforward. You open the portal, you pay your €5 if it's up until 4 days before your trip. Now, for the exemptions instead,
Now, as you look at exemptions, we already have somebody,
yeah,
and this is Johanna or Johan, who's talked to us
yeah,
before, asking, my hotel should not charge me for that fee. Now, there's a separate tourist tax that your hotel may charge you,
that it will
will
charge.
charge you.
Uh,
But as far as the exemption goes, Luna, make sure you talk about
yeah,
what your hotel may or may not do for you for the
okay.
exemption.
Nothing is the short answer. Um, so, even if you are staying in a hotel, you have to go on the website and ask for the exemption for the red days again, as we saw.
So this exemption is you're staying in a hotel, you're staying in an Airbnb,
Yeah.
you're a guest of a friend. Is that no?
Yes, it's another category of the exemption. Yeah,
Okay.
if they live in Venice proper, in the city of Venice, Mestre, Marghera, and Favaro don't count at that point.
So
If you're staying with a friend, hmm
these are the scenarios when you need to get the exemption.
yeah,
Didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to make sure we plugged
absolutely.
in
Yeah.
what they were asking about.
So in that case, if you're staying in a hotel, and let's say you're staying from Monday to Thursday, for example, from I don't know, the 20th to the 23rd of April, you don't have to worry about anything because it's not in the on the red days, so you don't have to worry about the access fee.
You don't have to worry about the access fee.
Yeah,
Your hotel will probably still charge a tourist tax
yeah,
as part of the payment you make to the hotel,
yeah.
but not the.
So the city tax that you pay to the hotels and Airbnb is basically a replacement of the access fee. In fact, we will see they mention that on the exemption page as well. So be ready with some cash because they usually require that to be paid separately in cash because it's a tax to the city. They don't keep any of that money. And it's separate. It can range from 2 to 5 euros per night per person, maximum 4 or 5 nights of your stay. And they will mention it when you make the reservation. So that's why if you're staying in the metropolitan city, you don't pay the access fee because it would be a double tax basically that you're paying.
But that tourist tax is charged
Mm.
every day, 365 days a year.
Yeah,
It isn't exactly linked to the tourist
yeah,
tax. It's
e-
not a one-to-one swap for those days.
exactly.
You will
Yeah,
always pay a tourist tax in a
yeah.
hotel or an Airbnb
Mhm.
for each night you stay.
Yeah, exactly. So, as I was saying, when you click on the exemptions page, you will see this page. Now, great news for 2026, if you have a working printer, you can print a PDF form, which is this one. And you might be thinking, can I fill it in on the PDF and not worry about printing it? Not exactly. And I will show you why. Because here they ask you for your personal details. If it's the case that you are staying at a tourist facility, so Airbnb or hotel, you would fill in the first box and then scroll, 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 scroll with all the possible exceptions. There are a lot. Place and date, the signature, but the important thing is that this last page must be printed because in case you are checked, the agent is supposed to fill in this page for you saying that you have been checked and it's confirmed that you are staying in a hotel or Airbnb. Also, they might want to see a proof of a reservation that you have for the hotel or the Airbnb. So make sure you have both of those things ready.
Now, as you're talking about the PDF or having it printed, this is not the normal thing that you can do.
Yeah,
You're talking about extra additional options.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
if you're looking for extra options, this is an extra option.
Mhm.
But I think now you're going to talk about kind of the straight down the line what people would typically do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which we're back on the exemption page. You do not need to request an exemption if you are part of these categories. So even minors under 14 years of age don't need to ask for the exemption. But if you are staying in an accommodation, here is the first box that you have here on the page. Now, if we click on that and we click on request exemption, you will see there's a timer here and you will have to select the start day. So let's say April 3rd.
The timer you're speaking of is not appearing on the YouTube feed. So
Oh, okay.
in the bottom left corner of the window, it gives you 15 minutes to
Oh, yeah.
fill out.
I think now
Oh, now it's there.
it's
Oh, okay.
up. Yeah.
There's a little bit of delay, sorry.
Okay, so you select the start and end date of all of your trip. It doesn't have to be red dates only. And so you will put your personal information here, email, current residence. accommodation, so you can look for the name of the hotel, or you can manually enter the name if you can't find it on the list.
Let's oh, can we open that? Trying to remember the name of a hotel if we were staying in. I guess if you start typing in hotel.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's a list like this where you can choose from the hotel you're
yeah,
staying at.
exactly. If you know the actual name, it shortens the
If you don't find it immediately, talk to the hotel. They can tell you how it's
exactly.
listed.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this they all have a code at the end. You could even
Mhm.
put in that code.
Probably yes. Let's see. Yeah,
Okay, so you could even ask your hotel what their code is.
exactly. Then you see that here it says, declare to be aware that the exemption from the payment of the access fee does not result in the exemption from the payment of the tourist tax, which is what we were saying before. The tourist tax is therefore due and must be paid to the manager of the accommodation facility. Okay, so the tourist tax is still something that you owe the hotel or Airbnb. Now, interestingly, here you have to click on the privacy policy to be able to tick the box for reading the privacy policy. I will not go through that, but I can tell you the process because I tried it earlier. You will then have a page where you can select additional holders, so that if there's more than one adult in your group, you can add their name to the same voucher. And then they will ask you for a contact data. So either your phone number or your email address. Personally, I prefer email address because it's easier. So they will send you a unique code to your email that you have to put in a box. And that confirms that you're a real person with a real email, and then you will get your voucher. Or you can put your phone number and then call a toll-free number to confirm that you are a real person with a real phone number. So in this case, I think putting the email is the easiest way. But after that, you will just get a QR code in your email and on the final screen, and you can save that and show it at the checkpoints when asked. And that's all you need to do. Same thing if you have to pay for the access fee, you will fill in a similar form, and then at the end you will get a QR code after the payment for your voucher for your access fee.
So when you're doing the exemption,
Mhm.
you choose which hotel you're staying at.
Yeah,
Do you have to provide proof?
no,
Okay. When do I have to provide proof? When I walk up to a checkpoint and
yes, if they ask at the checkpoint.
okay.
Mhm.
And would a reservation from booking.com be acceptable?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
But I mean, in response to the question we're seeing, I would suggest you do the exemption form online. It's
Yeah,
not ideal to just walk in the city and then give them your proof and pay at the checkpoint. That's not the best way to do it. The
yeah.
best way to do it would be to do it all here ahead of time,
Mhm.
and then you're just choosing your hotel from the list.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can take your time too, because you can do this anytime, like
Mm.
before your trip. So it gives you time to figure out how it all works. And at least you have the peace of mind of having your voucher and not having to find the checkpoint and whatnot.
As we're looking at this slide, is there an easy way you can recommend for people to find the dates for June?
Everything will be linked in the description of this video. Uh,
So after,
Also,
oh, here it is.
there you go.
Great.
These are all the dates for this year.
But if you're watching the video later after the live has ended, the link is in the description.
Yeah, exactly. So in June, in particular, you see the whole first week is red, and then all the weekends. Generally, the weekends are the red days, basically. But this page will be linked in the description of the video.
It's the days when historically it's overcrowded in
Yeah,
Venice. Now, if you could plan a trip, Monday through Thursday, April 20th through 23rd, not only do you not have to deal with this whole thing, it's going to be a little bit less crowded.
yeah, exactly. That's the idea.
So,
Mhm.
go to Florence on the weekend, come to Venice for those 4 days might be a
A
little bit
good way
easier. Yeah.
to arrange your trip. Yeah. Okay, Easter is coming. Easter is a big celebration in Italy as a fundamentally Catholic country. Uh, the schools and workplaces will be closed from April the 3rd to April the 6th, Good Friday to Easter Monday. There will be lots of religious ceremonies, and so you should expect crowds, especially at churches around town for the different religious ceremonies happening in the different churches. A typical treat of Easter in Italy is the Easter egg, which is not exactly what you would expect in English-speaking countries, because the uova di Pasqua are chocolate eggs that can be quite big, uh, and inside you always find a surprise. It can be a toy, it can be a jewel, it can be more chocolate. It depends on the brand of the uova di Pasqua. If you're traveling with kids, they would definitely enjoy some Kinder Easter eggs, some Disney Easter eggs. So look out for those in the supermarkets and bakeries all around town.
But for Americans, we don't have those eggs with toys inside because at some point they were decided they were a choking hazard.
Mhm.
So if you are Americans visiting Europe
Yeah,
with small children, just be aware there could be a toy inside that egg. Don't let them just
yeah.
house the whole egg straight in their mouth.
Yeah, and because they are so big, usually they are
Okay.
broken with quite a bit of violence, and so you can find the big surprise inside. And remember that restaurants might be booked by families going out for Easter lunch and dinner, so it might be complicated to find a table at the restaurant during that weekend. Easter Monday is usually the day for outings with the family, picnics, and a visit to monuments, sightseeing churches. So, again, expect large crowds over Easter weekend for sure. Okay, other events happening in April.
Before you move on to other
Yes.
events, I just want to comment, not so much a question, but I want to say Lucky Lou responded and said that they are visiting that first week of June. And we were saying, try to steer clear of it. Of course, you're still going to have a fantastic time.
Yeah.
But just a little bit of word of warning, you are on one of the most crowded weeks, so there will be a lot of people. You want to make sure you take care of your exemption or your entry fee. But here's my recommendation. Enjoy the nighttime.
Hmm. Yeah.
Venice is far less crowded at night. It's absolutely beautiful. It is very safe city to walk around at
Hmm.
night. And if you're coming from North America, you're probably jet lagged anyway. So just play, with, afternoon and evening rather than early morning and
Hmm.
daytime. It's also
100%.
significantly less hot at night, and it does get very hot during the day in June.
Yeah.
So it's just my recommendation. Enjoy the evening.
Yeah.
If you want to go to specific, to the cathedral or specific museums, that might be a reason to wake up early. But generally, to enjoy the city and
Yeah.
walking around, afternoon and evening are great, and it's not going to be as crowded the later you stay up.
Totally agree. Yeah. And remember to bring some insect repellent because
Mm.
June is problematic for mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah. Okay, so other events in April, we have the Suez Operi Ponti on April 12th. It means up and down the bridges. It's a family-friendly walk around the city. You can still register if you're up to it. In the description, you will find the link with all the information and the route as well. On April 19th, there's a Forte in Fiore spring market exhibition in Mestre, where you will find flower stands and all kinds of stands inspired by spring market products. So it's a nice festival to check out. And on April 25th, another busy day for Venice because it's the patron saint San Marco celebration, but also it's Liberation Day. So all of Italy will be on holiday on the 25th of April, and expect again large crowds, expect busy streets and lots of vendors of rosebuds, because that's what you're supposed to gift to the women in your life on St. Mark's Day. And so keep an eye out, and also consider that every time there's a national holiday, transportation might have some disruptions, some changes, some different timetables than usual. Okay. Now, if you have any questions in the chat, feel free to write them down. We received some various questions these past few weeks. So, should I book a gondola tour in advance? What would you say?
Well, not necessarily. I think there are ways to do it in advance, and that can be nice to have it done and on the books. But I probably would lightly recommend do not book in advance, because what's nice is as you walk around the city, you're going to discover lots of different places where you can get a
Mm,
gondola. If you want to get a gondola from Piazza San Marco out in the San Marco Basin, great. If you want to get it a ride through some of the narrow canals, great. If you want to get a gondola ride through the Grand Canal, there's spots around Rialto where you can, but I would suggest, and it's not a hard suggestion, it's one idea.
yeah.
Walk around the city and you'll see lots of opportunities. There's going to be maybe three places where there's a line,
Hmm.
but so many other places where there's no lines, there's a gondola there ready to go, and just kind of discover, you
Yeah.
know, different opportunities.
Exactly. And it's not like you're going to save money. Actually, I think it's more expensive to book in advance. Right now, I think the fee is 90 euros for a 30-minute ride. Remember, the price is per ride, not per passenger. It's up to five people on the gondola. And yeah, so just walk around uh, and decide at the moment where you want to take your gondola. There's plenty of opportunities around the city.
I would guess maybe if you specifically want the Grand Canal, specifically under Rialto Bridge, there's a place where you can get the gondola around Rialto Bridge that will have a line. That will almost certainly have a
Right.
line, especially during the day.
Hmm.
And if you want to book that in advance, that might be a good idea.
Hmm.
That sounds lovely, but there's so many other great places you can have
Yeah,
a gondola ride if you don't need that specific spot.
exactly. Yeah.
And gondola rides happen in the evening as well. You know, same thing applied that we said a moment ago. You can lean, I mean, not at midnight, clearly. You
Hmm.
know, I don't know how late they run, but after the sun is down, there's
Yeah.
opportunities for
And
gondola.
the price is a little higher for night ride,
Ah.
by the way. Yeah.
Also, we'll mention, and I realized another thing you might want to do earlier in the day is the markets. If you want to go to the open air fish market or vegetable market, you might want to do those in the morning, keeping in
Hmm.
mind the crowdedness, because those are not open in the late afternoon and evening.
Right. Now, visiting the St. Mark's Basilica is proving challenging. Now, we talked a couple of months ago, I think, about the new system for booking the tickets for the St. Mark's Basilica. You cannot buy the tickets in person anymore. You have to buy them through the website. Again, the link will be in the description. But apparently, there are no slots available for months and months because something happened with people buying a huge number of slots and then selling them through agencies and whatnot. So they are trying to fix the issue, but keep in mind that if you want to visit the St. Mark's Basilica, look at the website right now because it's getting a little complicated.
How do you feel about those third-party booking agencies?
Not very well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really it's terrible, and it's terrible for the agencies that were doing things the right way because now the basilica has stopped any agency to be able to register and buy for even legitimate groups of tourists.
But if I wanted to get into the Basilica and all the tickets were sold out, but there is an agency that has a package that includes those tickets, is that trustworthy?
I would tentatively say yes, because they might have bought them a month ago.
Yeah.
So
And I don't know, but I would guess they're not just going to sell you a ticket for the Basilica. They're going to sell you some sort of like 2-day excursion pass that
yeah,
includes that ticket.
yeah,
They're going to mark you up in some
hmm
way.
yeah, exactly, which is really terrible. Also, a second issue that has emerged, for some reason, the Basilica has decided to put the QR code with a website to buy the ticket outside the Basilica. This means that there are long lines of people trying to scan the code and buy the ticket at the moment, which they cannot do because, as we said, there are no tickets available. So if you manage to get a time slot and you have your QR code to enter the Basilica at a specific time, push the crowds and go to the entrance of the basilica because you cannot stay in line with people trying to buy the tickets. So don't be afraid of being rude. Just make your way to the entrance of the basilica if you have a QR code for a specific time because they are very rigid and strict about the time slots.
Before you start pushing people out of the way, I would scout out that entrance, and if there's an attendant there who
Right.
you can ask, who can speak on your behalf or guide you to a different place, I have the like tell them I have the QR code, I have a pass for today. See if they direct you.
Yeah, and take some time, like be there
Oh
quite
yeah.
early
Yeah.
in any case. And remember the dress code because they are very strict about the dress code as well. Shoulders covered, knees covered, no open shoes and whatnot. So they could turn you away if you're not following the dress code. And speaking of visiting churches, you will find in the description a link to the Chorus website, which is very interesting because it's an association of different churches around Venice. So you can map out all the churches that you might want to visit and see which ones require payment, which ones are free to visit. So it's a very nice website to plan your itineraries around Venice.
As we're talking about how hard it can be to get into the basilica, and I'm sure during the most crowded times it's equally difficult to get into the tower,
Mhm.
the Campanile at San Marco. We have a video on our channel about visiting the island of San Giorgio, which also has a tower, which Lionel has something to say, but it's a great alternative
Yeah,
to San Marco because it's generally easier to get to the
right.
tower on San Giorgio, and then you actually get to see San Marco from the tower at San Giorgio.
Except,
Except, uh-oh,
sorry to disappoint, but San Giorgio, the bell tower, is not open at the moment.
do
It's
you know
under maintenance.
do you know for how long?
No, they haven't said.
So that is a very common thing visiting Europe.
Yeah.
Something is always being renovated and restored. There were, I think, 5 years straight when I would visit Venice, and well, this year you can't go to Rialto Bridge. This year you can't go to the tower. This year you can't go to Academia Bridge.
True.
Like one of the things,
Yeah.
not all of them, they usually take one thing out of the equation for renovation this year, and you can see all of the others.
Yeah.
So I guess San Giorgio is this year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Exactly. It's a lovely island to visit,
Absolutely.
nonetheless. But yeah, the bell tower unfortunately is not open to the public.
I have more questions from the
Let's
live.
go.
Let's talk about the traghetto crossings.
Hmm.
Now, the traghetto is so in Venice, there is a great, we've got a picture. The Grand Canal is the large canal that snakes through the middle of the city.
Right.
And if you find yourself on one side of the Grand Canal and you need to be on the other side of the Grand Canal, there are three bridges,
Four, I
four
believe. Yeah.
bridges that you can use to cross,
Hmm.
and it can be a significant walk to find your way to the next bridge.
Hmm.
So an alternative is traghetto,
Yes.
which is an Italian word for ferry. It's basically a gondola that goes back and forth across the Grand Canal.
Hmm.
Somebody in the comments was asking how many are there. Some people have said there are only two crossings. Some said there are eight. And this does change. Like sometimes this crossing will be, decommissioned. At some point during one of the festivals, they put a temporary bridge in place of one of the traghetto
Mhm,
crossings.
mhm.
Anyway, do you know or have no way of knowing how many there are?
So yes, I had linked the official link of the city with the contact information too. There are phone numbers. Apparently, you can call to see if the traghetto is available. I'm not sure anybody would answer that phone, but still. Anyway, from their map, it appears to be that there are four active traghetto at the moment, and I will link in the description the map with all the locations. Keep in mind that um, there's a conflicting feelings for a Venetian when talking about the traghetto because it's I think now 80 cents for locals and 2 euro for foreigners, for tourists
There's,
to ride the traghetto.
there's still a problem with long lines.
There is, yeah. Suddenly, they became very popular on Instagram and TikTok for some reason. Some travel agent uh, booked some large groups to take the ferry just to have the experience of being on the gondola, which means locals were enraged, of course, and queuing for longer times than needed when they have to take the ferry to go to work or to go to school. So it's not a tourist
Mm.
activity for them. So yeah, be mindful of whether there are long lines. Maybe it's a good idea to just cross and cross, taking a bridge across the Grand Canal or a vaporetto, and then going to the other end of the ferry. Because sometimes there are sites that are very popular, there's long lines, and then you go to the other side and there's nobody taking the vaporetto, the traghetto, but actually it's the same ride. Like you are riding the gondola back and forth. So
So you're talking to people who want to enjoy the experience of taking the
exactly,
gondola across the Grand Canal. And I
yeah,
guess that is part of it. I try to discourage that because some
yeah,
people use it for actual transportation.
yeah,
But if your goal is literally to get to the other side of the city on the other side of the Grand Canal, I personally have never taken traghetto,
yeah.
but it's because I love to walk and I love
Mhm.
walking through the city. So I don't mind walking to the next major bridge
Right.
across the Grand Canal. If you're in a position to easily walk and to enjoy walking, I strongly recommend that. Um,
Also, I personally don't love the idea of being with a lot of other people on a gondola.
they fill them up.
Yeah, and it's safe. I mean, there haven't been any major incidents of people falling into the canal. I wouldn't trust that too much personally. So yeah, I've never been on a traghetto gondola, but yeah, it's definitely an experience. Just be mindful as usual of the context around you for sure.
But also, if you're walking around and like I said, you're on one side of the city and you need to get to the other, start looking for those signs, which are
Mhm.
high up on the side of the building. You'll see
Yeah.
the names of streets. You'll also see signs pointing you to the Vaporetto, but those signs will also point you to traghetto. So if
Yeah.
there's a traghetto, you'll see a sign, or if there's a bridge, Academia Bridge or
Mhm.
Rialto Bridge,
Mhm.
start looking, and you might say, "I need to get across the canal." Is it a bridge or is it a traghetto? Just keep watching those signs and see which one
Mhm.
comes up for you,
Yeah.
and then maybe seize on that opportunity.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mhm.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions?
Well, somebody said that Nick is so cool. Thank you.
I agree.
Uh, there was, oh yeah, have you heard anything about the 3-day Vaporetto passes going away?
No. Oh my God. I hope not.
This is the first I've heard of it. Somebody's asking about that. Um, in one of our videos, we show how to go to the website
Mhm.
for the Vaporetto and buy your 3-day passes.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we talked about it last month.
last month. Okay, so if you look at last month's video, there's information about that and the website. So you can
Mhm.
go there and see if it's still being offered. Aside from the question we're seeing now, we have no reason to think that that's going away.
Yeah,
So,
no, that would be unusual for for the bus company to decide to do away with that.
yeah.
So yeah, no, we haven't heard anything about that going away. Mhm.
Okay, I think that's all the current live questions. Remember, if you're watching this video later after the live has finished, you can post more questions and we'll still see those questions in the comments.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions about the access fee and how to work it out, just let us know, and we can also go through the whole process and record that for you. So happy travels to Venice, and we will see you next month with another appointment with Nomad Citello. Bye.